Hello, students. Welcome to your first Tinkercad challenge. Your mission, should you choose to accept it and get points, is to create a decorative name tag or plate that is suitable to put on your wall or door. It should be easy enough to read and include a structure that can hang from a wall or a door using a tack or a pin. The first thing I'm going to do is create a 3D design. You'll see something like this show up. Now you'll notice that it'll automatically generate something funky like this, and the reason it does that is just so that if you forget, uh, basically it comes up with unique names so that you don't have a billion untitled works. So the first thing I'm going to do is rename this. I'm going to call it Aaron's Challenge 1. I think I called it Tinkercad, so let's add Tinkercad. Basically, if you want to change it, all you have to do is click in here. When it's blue, I'm just moving my arrow keys to get the cursor where I want. Tinkercad. There we go. I click off and we're done. We're in like Flynn. Now, you'll notice this work plane isn't bad, but we want to print something. Like I'm talking 3D printer. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into edit grid and find the Dremel 3D40 or 3D45, which is the one that we have at school. We're going to update grid and you'll see that it gets longer. So this represents all the area that we can print in. Snap grid, when you create something, you will notice that basically things will snap to these, well, little grids. And you could change them to be as precise as you want. The default is 1 millimeter, and that's what we're going to start with. So the first thing we're going to do is take a nice rectangle like this, and we're going to drop it in here in the corner, and we want to make it big enough so that we can create an interesting looking piece. If you're not completely familiar with using millimeters as a unit of measurement, feel free to look at an object with a ruler in hand if you have one at home, or a measuring tape. Otherwise, you could also change. I believe you can change it to inches if you, or bricks if you want to build it by Lego size, inches or millimeters. In this case, though, we're going to start with 160. We are going to make this 160 millimeters by 75, or let's make it 80. So the default is about 20 millimeters of height, which is pretty thick. We don't want to have our whole thing this big to print. That's a lot of plastic. So what I'm going to do, I am going to. Well, first of all, I want to plan ahead a little bit. Number one, we're going to be using our text tool to put our name in here, and we're going to use some of these shapes in order to decorate our thing. But you'll remember the one thing that I did ask you guys to plan for, besides the fact that it needs to go on a wall, we need a way to hang it. And if we go down all the way to everyday objects, we will find a humble pushpin. So we're going to grab this and we're going to look at its beauty. Now you'll notice the shape and the size is pretty specific. Um, so it's about 22 millimeters high. Does that include the whole thing? No, yeah, that's all the way there. Let's see if we can use our ruler. Yeah. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to erase a bottom part. How will I do this? I'm going to grab one of these. I'm going to put our awesome little, oops, thumbtack inside of our shape. Oh, that's a cat. Something like this. I'm going to grab both shapes, combine. You'll see the bottom goes away, and we are left with the height here, 14 millimeters. So we'll call that 15. So on the other side, I'm going to create a hole. Truthfully, I don't want this thick. It's too much. So I'm gonna make this smaller. We're gonna call it 10 millimeters maximum. Just a warning, Mr. Stremecki reserves the right to say, nope, too thick, too much plastic. You're gonna have to make it smaller. Actually, you know what? Let's start with 5. And we're gonna make a simple hole. How? Just gonna use the dimensions here. You can see that the biggest part here is about 8.84. So we're gonna make this a 9 millimeter by 9 millimeter hole. Now, if I'm looking for the halfway point, because if I want to hang this off a wall so it looks cool, I'm going to cut it in half. So we need each one of these is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So halfway, which is marked by these things too, it's going to be right around here. And then we've got a hole. So next step is, actually I'm going to get rid of this ruler here. I'm going to grab everything, combine, and then I've got a hole to put my creation on. So that's step 1. So basically this part here is going to be our back plate that holds everything together. You can carve into it like I just did with the hole to put typing in. And we're going to do that. I'm going to show you both ways to do this. So number 1, just a solid shape, except for we're not going to call it text. We're going to call it Mr. Stromecki. Does that change? Come on. There we go. It took a little bit to process. So you'll notice this is pretty big, and it's going off the size of off the sides of my back plate here. It's okay if it goes off a little bit, but if it goes off too much, that's no good. So I'm going to try a couple of tricks. Number 1, I'm going to try and go corner to corner to give me a little bit more space. You'll notice that if I printed this I and the K might hold it together, but I don't really want to take that chance, because if I want to get a perfect score, and you know me, I do, I want to make sure that everything is going to be connected. So that way I can be sure. And I'm going to hold a shift key and right click to move around so I could focus things a little bit better. I'm just going to hold it like this. So we're going to have my name on here. Yay! Easy peasy so far. And then, if I wanted to, I could actually turn it into a hole. Let's pull it up a little bit. And if I grabbed everything and combined it, you should see a little bit of my name etched into there, which actually looks pretty cool. But I sort of like the other way too. So we're going to undo that and undo it again. And then, let's see. Where's my shapes? That's interesting. Sometimes you'll notice these things can be a little bit slow to populate. There we go. Okay, so the other part of this is I need to decorate it so that it looks cool. And while it does look cool saying Mr. Stremecki, um, I think I'm more bit more of a star. So I'm gonna grab a star. And I'm gonna place it in there in a cool and exciting manner. Pretend I'm American. I'm gonna flip this around so that it's lined up more or less. I'm gonna change the size a little bit too. I'm gonna hold down shift to make sure that it doesn't get out of proportion. If I don't hold shift, you could end up with something that looks like this or this. But if I hold shift, then everything stays together nicely the way it should. So here's one star. I'm going to copy. I'm going to paste. I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to make it even smaller. Again, holding down shift. If I wanted to, I could duplicate. Same idea. Let's see what would happen if I do it again. Duplicate. Oh, that's really small. Wow. Let's leave it in there. It's sort of fun. Let's add some more exciting things than that. So we've got a couple little stars in here, which is cool. Let's put a squiggle. Oh, well, this is funky. I get to draw my squiggle. Oh, the excitement. Yeah, sure, why not? Okay, this is in the way. Say done. So now I've got my squiggle in here. I'm going to rotate it to go underneath my last name. Now, an important thing to consider is the direction this is all going. If I wanted to, I could have stuff signing or stuck something like in this direction, which may or may not work for you. But again, since we're assuming that we're going to hang this off of a wall, we want to make sure that it's nice and easy for people to read. So I'm trying to aim this so that we've got some cool stuff underneath my name. Not completely silly. Oh my, this is getting a little bit silly. I'm going to rotate that a little bit. So that's another shape. Let's see. Eh, let's add what. Let's see what else. Let's go to. Let's add creatures and characters. See what's on here. Oh look. We could have some hands. All sorts of fun little stuff in here. What was this, Elvis? Really? Oh my. Yeah, we're gonna put a little Elvis on here. But of course, since we're going side to side, we're gonna have to turn them so that we can stick them on. Let's go 90. Oh, let's try minus 90. Yeah, baby. Oops. Run on. Make him a little bit bigger. Yeah, baby. You can see he's a little bit flat, so we're going to try and make him a little less flat. And then we're going to sink him into the back plate. So when it prints, you can see everything. Now, I'm looking at this microphone here, and that looks like it's going to be a bit of a pain. So if I printed it, I don't think it would hold on very well. So I'm going to put on a 10-degree angle like this. You know what? I think we're going to get rid of Elvis. I want a dinosaur. Is there any dinosaurs in here? Ooh, how about a blockhead? Blockhead Steve. or Blockhead Mr. Stremecki. So if you're, this is definitely getting a little bit out there, but that's our car. Having fun here. We got a blockhead. What else? Oh, do we want a mustache on said block? No, it's a bit silly. We how about glasses? Mr. Stremecki has glasses. There we go. Glasses. It sort of looks like something that I might have. Rotate. Okay, a little bit big. Try and aim these so that it's over top. Yeah. Okay. So keep in mind when we print this, some of the details that show up as different colors are not even going to be noticeable at all. But if I zoom in on some of these details of the eyes, for instance, you can see that there's different levels in here. So if I grab everything, so I'm going to try Control A or grab everything, and I'm going to group it all. You'll see everything should change color. But I just did that by hand. Okay, it didn't change color, but to make it give you a better idea of what it'll look like when it prints, it'll look a lot more like this. And you'll notice I've got some stuff sticking out of the bottom here. That might be a problem. If you have such things like that, we might have to oops, take a hole and make sure it covers anything that would go underneath here. Again, grab everything, and I'm going to combine, and that should get rid of the stuff underneath. So that's not too bad. We're going to show you one last thing, and then I think this will be it. So we're going to grab some more text. I'm going to change it to serif, and I'm just going to put on here robot. And sometimes this thing is a bit slow to respond. So we'll go like this, robot Mr. Stromecki. And I want to put it something like this. You notice sometimes I'm going to have to adjust this by hand because I think it naturally is snapping. Let's try that again. Okay, this is getting in the way. Close enough. Now, instead of popping up like this, we're going to turn this into a hole, and we're going to pull it up a little bit so that it sort of cuts into all the objects below it. And I'll grab everything, combine, and we've got that neat cut in effect. So when I print it, robot Mr. Stremecki will appear. And, it sort of looks like I'm pointing at myself. So I'm going to add, let's see, is there anything mounted as the scenery or hardware? Now we're just going to stick with this. And I'm rotating so I can see the arrow that I want. And then this one, I want it to look like that squiggle is now pointing at my head. More or less. Again, grab everything, and I'm going to combine or group. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. It's all one piece. Oh, we got another one of these things in here. So if I want, I'm going to click on this thing. I'm going to ungroup. And if I keep hitting ungroup, it will show you all the things that I've done, like this. Until we get back to this point. You'll notice that Robot Mr. Stremecki and the arrowhead is still in there. But more importantly, this is in here. So I'm going to try. I'm going to click off. I just want to make sure this doesn't cause any problems for the printer. So I'm going to grab this whole, grab everything again, Control A or Command A, group, give it a second. And you can see nice smooth bottom. So now that I'm ready, I'm thinking that looks pretty good. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different objects or shapes. It's customized to say my name, Mr. Stremecki. The names are all spelled correctly. You can read them, although the robot one's a little bit harder to read. And what else? I've got a hole in there to hang things on, so that should be good for that. Now, oh, yes. Now, the last thing, I've already named this, but I want to show a link to this. So I'm going to grab right up here. Actually, let's see what choices we've got. No, I do want a link to your object or an STL file. So let's see, properties, design name, design description, tags, private, yada yada yada. Okay, this is not what I want. If I want to have it just as a STL, I'm going to click on download here, click on STL, and you should see, there we go, a little download folder right there. Now, if I want to grab the link, nope, not that one. We're going to click on this, tinker this, and we're going to grab this hyperlink. You'll see it goes through all the changes before it completes. We're going to copy it. We're going to go to the classroom, and we're going to paste in our assignment there. Anyways, if you have any questions, please let me know. We're gonna stop here because this is getting way too long. All right. Hopefully, see you soon. Send me a message if you got questions.